Well, thanks for joining me again for another edition of your Sorrow Sports Business program, Sport Exchange. My name is Judy Orlando. Great to be back. And today we'll be looking at something very novel. Of course, it's been the talking point for some time, but I think we should talk to a professional. We should talk to those who know how it's working, or how most of those who are making use of it or deploying it into the sports business are able to do that. So we hope that we will have some great conversations today with our guests, and we'll be able to point you through how to go about this particular getting fans engaged. As far as sports business is concerned, fan engagement is very critical to revenue generation as far as sports business is concerned. So how are those who are trying to create innovation, are they able to make these things work for all those sports assets that we have around globally? Okay, that's it. Of course, our heart also goes to all those who are going through a lot, especially now in Russia as well as Ukraine. Our heart goes to them everywhere in the world that is going through unrest, war, invasion. Our heart goes to them because it's also affecting sports, because sport is no longer neutral. Sport has to take a stand. That is how it has gotten to the stage that we are. It has gotten to that point where sports cannot be no longer be neutral, and it has to take a stand. Okay, welcome to the show once again. We're going to break, and when we come back, my guest will join me all the way from the UK, and we'll be looking at how fan token is revolutionizing sports and fans engagement too. So let's see how that will shed some light on that. Okay, we'll be back after this time out. Don't go away.
Fantastically finished.
All right, welcome back. And before I join my guest, let me introduce my guest. Let me just do a brief intro about this young man. Samuel Zerik, a serial entrepreneur with interest in finance, investment, creative industry, and sports, is going to be my guest on the show today. In 2021, Zerik became the chairman of the most successful Bosnia football club, FK Seljesnik. And when at that time, coincidentally, they were celebrating their 100th year anniversary. That was in 2021 when he became the chairman. The last time he was on this show, he came to discuss the strategic partnership between FK Seljesnik and Ghana Premier League's club side, Madiama SC. That's what he came to do. But today, because of his, he's got his hand in so many pies, and he's just recently he became the chief operating officer of Blocksport. That Blocksport, by the way, is a digital asset and innovation company. Yeah, so they are into many things, and one of the things they are really working on now is fan token. And the question that I have, what we are looking at on today's show is fan engagement. Is fan token the way? Is fan token the way? Is how do we get fans to engage with their clubs, or with their club assets that they are really passionate about? But that Samir will answer that question for me on today's show, and for us generally. Samir, how you doing? Good to see you again on the show.
Good to see you too, Jude, and lots of regards to you and Nigeria from rainy London today. Thank you so much for inviting me to talk about the importance of digitalization in general. And I think it's a very, very valid question. Are fan tokens the way to help clubs engage with their fans? Well, the answer is yes and no. I think fan tokens form a part of the digital ecosystem where you have the likes of NFTs, the fan tokens, gamification, and of course the fan app. And then one of the key things, as you mentioned, when I was a chairman of the Bosnian Football Club, I very much realized the power and importance of digitalization, because as you know, over the past 2 years, clubs around the world have struggled with the audiences, the empty stadiums, the empty arenas. And COVID, in a way, has helped really accelerate this kind of fun engagement platforms that have really mushroomed up around the world. So you have some of the biggest players in the world. And what really resonated with me, and I think you and I connected over this strategic partnership between Blocksport and Result Sports. I think, in my view, two very powerful, perhaps the most powerful digital sports tech companies in the world, where I just felt joining forces with one another will really help us to lead the way in the environment and in the market that has clear winners and losers. It has also lots of speculations, what's right for each club. And what really resonated with me and Blocksport is the fact that we have the entire ecosystem, which is built on blockchain, which started a few years ago with a fan app, very much designed to help clubs create new revenues through the engagement with their fans, which are, not your typical coming to the stadium and your typical sort of buying of the jerseys, but really offering additional benefits in the digital world. As we all know, metaverse is the new big buzzword. There's lots of clubs trying to jump on it, not really fully understanding. And one of the key things, Gida, for your audience to understand that, what I like about what we do is the fact that our fund tokens are utility tokens. They're non-speculative tokens. We are not making clubs list those utilities, these digital currencies at the crypto exchanges, whereby lots of other competitors of ours are actually doing that. And the danger of doing that is that you actually attract lots and lots of what I call the speculative crypto traders who have nothing to do with the club. They have no real affinity like the true fans. And the most important thing when you, as a club, as a former club chairman, are sort of reviewing is that actually you must first and foremost protect your fan base. Second of all, you have to use these utilities, these fund tokens, to engage them in the right way and offer them benefits. And the benefits really kind of range from digital memberships all the way to sort of money can't buy experiences, and sort of offering it to the fans so they understand that the engagement goes beyond the sort of confines of the football stadiums or sporting arenas. They really go into the realm of the missions, the realm of the sort of ability to engage with your loved club, because many of these clubs around the world, including probably Nigeria, do have fans that are not necessarily in the same city. They're not even necessarily in the same country. And this is very, very important, I would say, the new junction for clubs, federations, leagues around the world to not only engage their fans, but also create new revenues.
All right. Thank you very much, Samir. Samir, yeah, you have said lots about this new, should I say, rave now about fan tokens, and now people want to digitize their assets and how to engage fans. But I have also seen where there is this reservation about for example, the fan token, how people are terminating partnership because it hasn't worked. And if I may ask you, how do we do it to make sure, for example, you are trying to redefine things now. What are the things you need to do for a client, for example, if you are to approach a club or someone who is very new? How do you make sure they buy in and make sure that there is actually a return on investment for them?
Well, Gida, it's a very, very good question, because what sadly has happened, the clubs haven't done enough due diligence on the companies and the platforms that actually been offered them these golden opportunities to make hundreds of thousands of millions of pounds or dollars. And that's why we've seen the likes of Man City, the likes of Barcelona, sort of really coming out of the contracts with the sort of the digital platform providers. I think the key thing you have to look at if you run the club, and I often said, even as the former chairman of the football club, clubs have history, they have heritage, they've been around for 150 years, some little bit less than that. So we as the senior management, whether we're the owners of the club or whether we're the chairman, presidents of the club, must be very responsible when it comes down to choosing these partnerships. This is not just getting your jersey sponsor that pays you 5-10 million or 1-2 million, depends where you're at. This is actually, you are giving them your IP, you are giving them access to your fan base. And in lots of cases, you've got to understand that your fan base as a club owner, the club management, is your biggest asset you'll ever have. And often these funds are there for generations. They very much surpass and outlive the current ownership of the structure. I mean, I often use the examples and parallels with art and diamonds. I've learned a long time ago that you never own a piece of art or a diamond, you're only custodian. The same with the football clubs. They have been around for hundreds of years, and they will be around also after this sports tech revolution or evolution. And the key thing for the club owners is the due diligence. They must really find out who's behind these sports tech companies, what the board looks like, what's the reputation and pedigree and credibility of the board. And then they really also need to understand what's on offer, because there's a huge amount of education that's needed. There's a huge amount of knowledge transfer that's needed. This is a relatively new thing, which of course, if played right and done with the right partners, it's going to create additional revenues and help clubs not only survive and succeed. And this is why we at Blocksport say we're actually not looking for customers, we're looking for partners. We really want to partner up with the right federations, with the right leagues, and with the right clubs, because only through these open, transparent partnerships can we actually jointly create the value add for the fans on the fan engagement side, but also for the clubs in terms of the revenue streams.
All right. For me, of course, you're in Europe, I'm in Africa, and of course there is a gulf in infrastructure, infrastructural availability in these two continents. Yeah, and for example, are you also looking at working with or getting into strategic partnership with African clubs and federations and helping them out? Because I know that with the current reservations of what is happening in this particular new terrain, a lot of people are careful. So if you want to get, or should I say, you want to get onto the continent of Africa, do you think we are ready and you can also work with some of the sports, big names on the continent?
Well, Julia, Africa is a huge market, and it's a very, very fast-growing market also in terms of digital transformation. And this is one of the reasons why Result Sports, that's been almost a digital benchmark of the African sport, football in particular, is a very, very important strategic alignment of ours. I mean, last week I had a meeting with the Scottish FA. They came down to see me in London, and we are trying to figure out the way in which we can create the full ecosystem on the digital side, from the fan app, fan tokens, and the NFTs. We recently signed up our first Serie A club in Italy, Empoli. We are looking now at all the top leagues, La Liga, and also Serie A and the Premiership, all the top 5 leagues in Europe, talking to many, many federations. As for Africa, we've already semi-engaged with the Nigerian Football Federation and the Bandredzer Football Club, which is the most forward-thinking social media, digital football club, I would say, in Nigeria for sure, but one of the best ones in Africa and wider African continent. So we are ready to bring innovation, to bring digitalization, to bring commercialization to the African continent. We'd love to start with Nigeria because it's probably a good starting point when it comes down to really the fact that you have the biggest market, You have a very fanatical fans, and you've got a great understanding of how the world of technology world, as we know, Nigeria has become a huge tech hub, and we have a very, very keen interest to bring all sorts of amazing digital innovation assets to Nigeria. There is also a sort of a huge opportunity and potential of Nigeria being really that sort of tech sports hub for the rest of Africa. I would love to see that happening, and I would love to sort of see the Nigerian Football Federation and the league recognizing this opportunity and really working closely with us and Mario Leo of Result Sports to sort of derive the strategy going forward and really embrace this innovation and this ecosystem that block sport has to offer and benefit from it.
Oh, all right. Now I see. I see the strategic partnership between Block Sport and Result Sport, and I'll see where the direction is now. Because, of course, for Result Sports, they have the data. They have some of the clubs are their tip. Especially they're working with a lot of these clubs already, and you're churning out the data about them digitally, and of course. And Blocksport also will be working with them. And maybe you can let us know what informed the partnership in the first place. Is it the fact that you realized that Result Sports was already on ground and they already have, of course, they have the way into most of these clubs?
Well, listen, Jude, I got to know both founders of Blocksport and Result Sports whilst I was the chairman of the football club, and I really bought, having met so many other founders of sports tech or digital businesses, I really their vision, their ambition, and their kind of dreams resonated with me, and also the fact that, as you may know, Result Sports has been a part of the digital strategy of Borussia Dortmund since 2009. Now, imagine we're in 2022 and people in the world of sports and football included still struggle to understand what digital strategy should look like. And this is the person who's really been doing it over the past 15 years, who's been advising UEFA, who's been advising the German Football Federation, who had, the Manchester City Football Club insisting on actually having a 2-year contract with him because he's delivering results. He understands the African market probably better than anybody else in the world because, as you said, he has a setup. And we decided that jointly and collectively, we can lead the way in education, in digital transformation, in digital enablement in order to help not just Nigeria, but the entire African continent. And it was a no-brainer to me to actually engage with Mario Leo of Result Sports and forge this strategic partnership because I believe that together we can achieve greater things.
All right. The potential is massive. It's endless, but I don't know what you're seeing right now because you're ready. What do you think the metaverse is going to offer to sports generally? Let me say in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, as you guys begin to expand.
Gide, there are clubs already who are looking at metaverse, and one of the great things that because we as Block Sports Tech company also engage with some of the biggest metaverse companies out there in conversation, possibly in partnership behind some of the biggest football clubs in the world who are looking in that sort of digital world and the launch of their digital stadiums, their digital players and teams and stuff. It's already happening. I think for it to start living properly, we are probably looking at a few years, and I would encourage lots of clubs and club owners to look into it, not necessarily to jump into it, because one really needs to understand the ecosystem of the digital world really well, needs to sort of analyze what works for them and what kind of partnerships will benefit them. There must be and showcase the huge level of responsibility towards their fan base. I hate seeing that fans are starting to really boycott some of these initiatives because they feel somewhat used and abused in some of these digital partnerships. I think one has to always put fans ahead of anybody else and anything else, and the club's interest ahead of anybody else and anything else. And metaverse is there, it's happening. Digital transformation is there, it's happening. Fun tokens, NFTs, fun apps are all there, it's happening. But every club has got to make their own decision. They've got to do their own due diligence. And, I encourage many of them to reach out to us, because we really started many years ago and ahead of some of our competitors in creating this ecosystem that's really designed to help and assist and partner up with the right entities. We are not in it for the short haul. We want to be in it for the long haul. Hence, we don't force clubs to list their tokens. That's why we don't go down the speculative road, but we go down the utility benefits type road. And I think, in my view, that's the responsible way. And this is where also Result Sports recognize that we are of a similar ilk, similar mindset. Hence, this partnership will just grow stronger and stronger.
Wow. Samir, thank you once again for joining me. And anytime I talk to you, there are a lot of things to take away. And I hope that we will get to talk once again some other time. And just like a serial entrepreneur you are always looking to build something new. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Samir.
Thank you so much to you and your audience.
All right. That is Samir, the Chief Operating Officer of Digital Assets and Innovation Company, Block Sports. And we're talking about the fan engagement, how it's been driven by fan token. Is fan token the way? All right. He's been able to talk to us about that. Okay. All right. Let's just go on a break, and when we come back. Okay. All right. Before we go, quickly, this is what will be our offside today. The world has been taken by storm, okay? In the wake of the Russia invasion of Ukraine, there are a lot of backlashes that has happened to Russia, especially in the sport world. All the sporting federations, talking about global sporting federations from FIFA to IOC and UEFA are already coming out strong in unity against Russia. And what are they doing? They're suspending athletes, they're suspending Russian teams, and it's not looking any better for sports in Russia right now. That is sanctions coming all the way from the right, left, center, especially against Russia now. Okay, and the question is sport is meant to be neutral. Is sport neutral? And it has hit Russia that we have just check out the tweet from FC Spartak Moscow right now. And I read that tweet. Look at that tweet. The decision to exclude our team from Europa League is upsetting. We believe that sport, even in the most difficult times, should aim to build bridges and not burn them. We will focus on domestic competitions and hope for a speedy achievement of peace that everybody needs. Of course, FC Spartak Moscow recognizes that there is need for peace and everybody needs it. I hope that those who are running the affairs in these countries, Ukraine, and all over Russia, already know that the world needs peace right now, and they need to make sure that sports remains neutral. But with the way things are, with IOC, International Olympic at one side, FIFA on the other side, and UEFA and the rest of them wielding big stick against Russia, I think they ain't neutral anymore, and it's not good for the game that preaches neutrality. On that note, I want to say thanks for joining me on today's show. I hope we can do this again some other time. Till I come your way next week or next time, I'm yours truly today, to man of the future in sports business, Jide Olano. See you some other time.